I thought it would be interesting to explore with you this week how I go about preparing for a concert. If it's something new, as is the case with United Artists by Kenneth Fuchs, then the first step for me is to get familiar with the overall character and personality of the work. It's also important at this stage for me to read more about the composer and more about this specific piece so I can appreciate it in the context of all of the music that composer has written. It's at this stage that I'm ready to get into the details of the actual music. I open my score and I start from the beginning, and I look from beginning to end to determine the overall form and structure of the piece. It's oftentimes too that I will make markings in my score that are very broad, that help show where the themes are, where the dividing parts are, and specific points about tempo, how fast or slow the music is. The next stage is to get right down to the level of individual instruments and vocal parts. I will sing through or play through each of the parts from beginning to end to appreciate the specific challenges for that instrument. It's also at this stage that I will make note of specific annotations or musical figures that might require extra attention in rehearsals. The last thing that I do is I zoom back out back to the full work, now appreciating how the details are summarized into the whole, and I develop a more finessed concept for the piece. It's at this stage that I'm trying to determine best what the takeaway should be for our audience and for us as performers. What is the primary idea at any given time? What is the energy? What is the overall orchestration palette that we want to deliver through balances in the orchestra? These are the decisions that must be made by the conductor and conveyed to the orchestra in real time. To assist me in that process, I make markings in my score, and I often use colors to denote what the markings represent. Blue markings for me usually have to do with louds and softs and all the dynamics in between. Red markings have to do with those most important pieces of information that affect the flow, the tempo, and the beats of the music. And the yellow markings indicate specific orchestration cues so that I can help those performers bring out the line and they can be heard most clearly. All of this transfers to the orchestra as well. At our very first rehearsal, we look at the big picture, we play the music from beginning to end, usually at a rehearsal tempo, and it's at this stage that all of us as musicians gather a sense of what the form of the work is intended to be. We hear where the main ideas and themes are, we identify where the tempos are and where they change, and everyone gathers just a general sense for how their part is going to fit into the whole. The next step of our preparation in rehearsal is to drill down into those details that need the most attention and clarity. In my score, I use these little red tabs to mark the sections that I'd want to bring special attention to in subsequent rehearsals. And tonight, these were the red tabs that I used for our rehearsal. We take these sections and we repeat them several times, addressing technique, dynamics, articulations, all the particulars required to make these segments sound more secure and confident. Finally, as we near the end of our rehearsal preparations, it's important to zoom back out again and to bring all the details together and perform the work top to bottom, really polishing what is our overall concept of the work. And of course, repetition is a great tool to build confidence and accuracy so that when it comes performance time, we can deliver the music as effortlessly as possible and with as much joy and conviction as we can.